Welcome to Weaving Weird Studio and my creative weird life. My name is Sig, and what a pleasure it is to have this time with you today. In today's tutorial, I am showing you how to make these sacred hearts. The Sacred Heart of Mary and also the Sacred Heart of Jesus. So now me personally, I am just fascinated by all the different spiritual and religious icons. And being from the world of tattoos, Sacred Hearts are one of those no-brainers. So I made a design of these two sacred hearts. Now, basically, they're the same heart with the same flame, and the only difference is the thorns or the roses. So before we continue on, I'd like to say it's your interest and support that allows me to contribute new content and weekly videos. Help us all grow together by tapping the subscribe bar, notification bell, and the like button. I look forward to your comments and always value your feedback. Now let's get started. So for today's video, I'm going to use 4 colors. The first color we're going to use is this golden color. Now all the threads I'm using is Aunt Lydia Classic Crochet thread, size 10. You can certainly experiment with other sizes of thread or yarn as you please. But for this tutorial, I have settled on just using the size number 10 crochet thread. So I have the golden colored thread. I believe it's goldenrod. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll put the name of it in the description below. I have the black. I have this brighter red, the victory red color. And then also I have this pumpkin orange color. I'm also going to need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, and then this steel hook, which is the typical that I usually use for a project like this, which would be a number 2 steel hook or a 1.5 millimeter. So to begin, I'm going to start by chaining 53 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 51, 52, and 53. The next thing I want to do is double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. I'm going to insert my hook, in this case, into not only the top loop, but also the back loop or that back bump. And then I'm going to do 3 more double crochets in that same stitch. You should have something that looks like this so far. So you should have a total of 4 double crochets plus a chain 3. Now I'm going to skip the next 4 stitches, and I'm going to double crochet in the following stitch, and I'm going to insert my hook into that top back loop as well as the bottom loop. So it should look something like this. And then I'm going to do 4 more double crochets in that same stitch. So you should have a total of 5 double crochets into the 1 stitch. Now I'm going to skip 4 more stitches. And again, I'm going to double crochet in the top back loop as well as the bottom loop of the next stitch. And then I'm going to double crochet 4 more times into that space, into that stitch. I'm going to do that one more time. skip the next 4 stitches and double crochet 5 double crochets in the following stitch. Now we're going to skip 4 stitches, but this time we're going to double crochet 3 double crochets into the next stitch. And of course, as before, in the top back loop as well as the bottom loop. This time we're going to skip 9 stitches, and in that 10th stitch we're going to do the 3 double crochets. And as before, in the back top loop as well as the bottom loop. So now you should have something that looks similar to this. So now we're going to again skip 5 and continue to repeat the next 3 clusters to look like these previous 5 double crochet clusters. So now that your piece looks something like this, the next thing you want to do is to double crochet 9 double crochets into the very first chain on this length of chains. So now the next thing we want to do is 5 double crochets in each one of these next 4 stitches that are directly opposite of where we had previously worked those clusters. Now I'm going to skip 4 stitches. And in that 5th stitch, the one that's at the very center of this 9 stitch chain, I'm going to begin by double crocheting 4 double crochets into that stitch. Then I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to double crochet 4 more into that same stitch. And now I'm going to double crochet 5 double crochets in directly opposite of each of the next 4 clusters. And then in that last cluster of this round, I'm going to double crochet 3 double crochets, and then I'm going to join. And I'm going to join in that 3rd stitch of the chain 3. So your piece should look like this. I'll give you a minute to take a look at that before we move on. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to double crochet in that same stitch. And then I'm going to chain 4, and I'm going to skip a stitch, and I'm going to do 2 double crochets together in the next stitch. Again, chain 4, skip a stitch, and then double crochet 2 double crochets together. So you should look like this. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 4, and I'm going to do 2 double crochets together in the 3rd double crochet of the next cluster. And then 4 again. And then again, 2 double crochets together in the 3rd stitch of the next cluster. And then again, chain 4, 2 double crochets together in that 3rd double crochet of the next cluster. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go immediately to the next 5 double crochet cluster, and I'm going to go to that middle cluster, or sorry, I'm going to go to that middle double crochet, the 3rd one into the cluster, and I'm going to double crochet 2 together. And I'm going to chain 4, and I'm going to double crochet 2 together in that 3rd double crochet of the next cluster. Again, chain 4, and double crochet 2 together in that 3rd double crochet of the next cluster. I'm going to chain 4. Now I'm going to do a double crochet twice together in the 1st stitch of this cluster here on the end of our piece. So right in that very first one. Chain 4. I'm going to skip a stitch, and then I'm going to double crochet 2 together in the next stitch. And chain 4. And I'm going to double crochet, well, I'm going to skip one, and then I'm going to double crochet 2 together right here at the very end. Chain 4. Again, skip the next stitch. Double crochet 2 together in the next stitch. I'm going to chain 4. Skip the next stitch and double crochet 2 together in the next stitch. And as before, I'm going to continue to chain 4 and then do 2 double crochets together in the 3rd double crochet of each of the next 4 clusters. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and chain 4 again. And as before, I'm going to do 2 double crochets together in that third double crochet of the next cluster. Now I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to do 2 double crochets together right here in this chain 2 space. And I'm going to chain 3 one more time. And then I'm going to do 2 double crochets together into the second double crochet. So then again, we're going to continue with our pattern of 4 chains and then 2 double crochets together in this third stitch of the next 4 clusters. Okay, and then as before, I'm going to do 2 double crochets together in the very first double crochet of the next cluster here at the end of round 2. Chain 4, skip a stitch, and then one more 2 double crochets together in that next stitch. Chain 4, and then join in the top of this next chain 3. And we're going to join with a slip stitch. So this is what you should have so far. This is what 2 rounds completed should look like. So now the next thing you're going to want to do, we're going to go ahead and again, we're going to get ready to start round 3. And for round 3, I want to chain 3. Then I'm going to do a double crochet in that same stitch. I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to do 2 double crochets in that same stitch. Then I'm going to chain 1. And I'm going to double crochet twice into the next 2 double crochet together stitches. Just like that. And then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to do 2 more double crochets in that same 2 double crochet together stitch. So it should look like that. And again, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to make 2 double crochets into the next 2 double crochet together stitch. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to double crochet twice again in that same stitch. And then chain 1. And then I'm going to do that again in the next 2 double crochets together stitch. Next thing I'm going to do is chain 1. And then I'm going to go across and I'm going to skip the next 2 double crochet together stitches, and I'm going to slip stitch in the next double 2 crochet stitch. So next I'm going to go ahead and I am going to slip stitch up the length of this lobe of the heart all the way up. And while I do that, I'm going to skip the next 2 double crochet together stitches until I reach this 3rd 2 double crochet together stitch. I'll show you what I mean. So now that I've slip stitched up the inside of the left side of the heart lobe, I am now going to chain 3, and I'm going to double crochet in that same stitch. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to double crochet 2 more times in the same stitch. So I'm going to continue that exact same pattern for the remainder of this round. So one more time, it'll just be a chain 1 and then 2 double crochets in the next 2 double crochet together stitch. And then chain 1 and then 2 more double crochets in that same stitch. And then of course chain 1, and then you're going to continue that with each one of these double crochet together stitches all the way around until you've completed your round 3. So now upon the completion of round 3, your piece should look like this. So once you've joined with a slip stitch and then a chain, go ahead and single crochet once in that same stitch. Then we're going to chain 6. And then skip the next chain 1 space and single crochet in the next chain 1 space. So basically you're going to do your single crochet in the chain 1 space here in this little cluster of 4 double crochets. So again, I'm going to chain 6. And then I'm going to single crochet right here in this chain 1 space between the 2 sets of double crochets in this one little cluster. Chain 6. And then single crochet in that next chain 1 space in the middle of that cluster, next cluster. Chain 6. And then again, single crochet in the chain 1 space in that next little double crochet cluster. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to close the heart a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to slip stitch again up this inner side of the left side of the heart lobe, all the way until we hit this first 2 double crochets. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slip stitch just like that together, like so. And then I'm going to continue to slip stitch, except this time I'm going to slip stitch in the back stitch, or I should say the back loops. And then I'm going to continue to slip stitch up the chain 3, and then right there into that chain 1 space. And then I'm going to chain 6. And then I'm going to continue as I did before in the chain 1 space of each of these 4 double crochet clusters for the count of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 8. Now I'm going to chain 4. And I'm going to do 2 double crochets together in the next chain 1 of the next cluster. So it's going to be right down here at the point of our heart. Then I'm going to chain 4. And then I'm going to do another 2 double crochets together. Now I'm going to chain 4. And I'm going to single crochet in that chain 1 space of the next cluster. Then I'm going to chain 6. And then continue on to complete this round 4. And I'm going to go ahead and join and fasten off. Okay, so far your heart should look like this. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the red once again, and we're going to go right back up here to the first 6 count loop on the left side of the lobe of the heart. You're going to get that in there and chain 1. Actually, chain 2. And now you're going to go ahead and half double crochet 7 in that first chain 6 loop. Okay, so we're going to continue that all the way around in each of the next loops, right? So if the loop was a 6 count, we're going to do 7 half double crochets. And then down here, where we have our 4 count loops, do 5 half double crochets. And again, when we come back over to this other side, it'll be 7 half double crochets in each of the loops. And then you're going to fasten off when you've come down here to the end of your loops. So let's go ahead and get that done. And then we will move on to our yellow thread. So now that your heart looks like this, you're going to go ahead and you can weave in the red threads now, or you can do it later, whatever suits you. I happen to do it now because I like to just keep it clean as I go along. So the next thing we're going to do is move on to our yellow thread. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the heart over to where the wrong side is facing me. And then I'm going to go ahead and in this back part of the half double crochets, I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook. Into these back bars. I'll pick up maybe a couple of the bars, just like so. And this is where I'm going to anchor in the yellow part of my flame, or the pineapple motif that we're using as the flame. I'm going to leave that tail because I'm going to weave that tail in a little later. And so what I'm going to do is once I have that anchored in there with slip stitch, I'm going to go ahead and chain 5. And then I'm going to go ahead to the last couple of bars on this backing area here that's of these half double crochets that are crocheted into the chain 6 loop. And I'm going to anchor it in again. Slip stitch, just like that. I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to turn my work. And then I'm going to double crochet 2 double crochets together, kind of with that chain 3 loop. And that pulls all 3 of those pieces together, all 3 of those stitches. Then I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to double crochet 7 in that chain 5 space. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, I'm going to chain 2. And then this time I'm going to 3 double crochets together. So I'm going to get my first one started, my second double crochet started, and then my third double crochet started. I should have 4 loops on my hook, and then I'm going to pull a loop through all 3 of those. And then I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to turn my work. Okay, so just in case you're wondering, this is the side, in case you got turned around. It's the right side of your heart where you begin your flame. So after I chain the 1, I'm going to slip stitch once and then twice back to that chain 2 space. And then I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to do 2 double crochets together in that chain 2 space. So 1 and then 2, right? And this chain 3 also counts as basically it's a chain 3 or a third double crochet. Either way is going to work. And I'm going to pull my loop through all 3 of those loops. And then I'm going to chain 2. And then I'm going to double crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1. Double crochet in the next stitch. And chain 1. And double crochet in the next stitch. And chain 1. I'm doing that for a total of 7. And then when I get my 7th one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm going to chain 2. And then in that chain 2 space, I'm going to double crochet 3 double crochets together. So, and now this time, I'm going to just kind of see where this sits. If I just lay it kind of gently over the back of the heart right there on that edge, as you can see. And then I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch it right there into a couple of those back bars. Just like so, just to anchor it in there. And then I'm going to turn the work. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slip stitch 2 times into that chain 2 space. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 3. And then as before, I'm going to crochet 2 double crochets together. Then I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to skip the next double crochet and I'm going to single crochet in this 1 chain space. And I'm going to chain 5 and then single crochet in the next single chain space and chain 5 and single crochet in the next chain 1 space, 5 more, and then single crochet in the next 1 chain space, single chain space. I'm going to do this 3 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then my third, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for the last chain 5 on this row. And then in the chain 2 space, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double crochet 3 double crochets together. I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. And then I'm going to slip stitch once and then twice right into that chain 2 space. And I'm going to chain 3 And I'm going to do 2 double crochets together. Then I'm going to chain 5. And then I'm going to single crochet in the next chain 5 space. And then chain 5. And single crochet in the next chain 5 space. And chain 5 again. And single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Chain 5. Single crochet in the next chain 5 space. And chain 5. Single crochet in the next chain 5 space. And a chain 5. And now I'm going to do 3 double crochets together in this next chain 5 space. And then I'm going to then again kind of get an idea on where this is going to lay. I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the next couple of bars on the back of this work. That lay nicely. So you can see it's not pulled, it's not tight, it's just laid there just nice and easy. Now this will be the last time we actually connect this side. So we're just going to make 3 basic connections on that end of the work. And then I'm going to turn my work. Make the chain 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch twice into that next chain 5 space. And I'm going to chain 3. So far your piece should look like this. So now we're going to go ahead and do 2 double crochets together. And then chain 5. And do a single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Chain 5 and then do another single crochet in the next chain 5 space. And again. Chain 5 and then single crochet in the next space. Then chain 5. And then we're going to do 3 double crochets together in this next chain 5 space. I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. I'm going to slip stitch right back here into this chain 5 space. And I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to do 2 double crochets together. And then chain 5. And again, single crochet in the next chain 5 space. And single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Then chain 5 again. And single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Now I'm going to chain 5. And now I'm going to crochet 3 double crochets together in this next chain 5 space. And chain 1. I'm going to turn my work. And I'm going to slip stitch twice back into that chain 5 space. I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to crochet 2 double crochets together. And I'm going to chain 5. Single crochet in the next chain 5 space, chain 5. Single crochet in the next chain 5 space, chain 5 again. And now I'm going to crochet 3 double crochets together. And I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. Slip stitch twice into the next chain 5 space, and then chain 3. And then crochet 2 double crochets together. And then chain 5. And then single crochet in the next chain 5 space. And then chain 5 again. And then crochet 3 double crochets together in the next chain 5 space. And chain 1, turn your work, and slip stitch twice into the next chain 5 space. And now I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to chain or double crochet 2 double crochets together. And then in the next chain 5 space, I'm going to double crochet 3 double crochets together. And then I'm going to make a single chain, and then I'm going to fasten off. Now your piece should look something like this, and it's time to switch over to the orange. Now for this particular heart, I'm going to do a half double crochet evenly along the edges of the entire flame. So I'm going to tie my orange in probably, I don't know, about here, right next to where I tied in my yellow thread there into the back bars of the half double crochets of the heart. And then I'm going to begin. So for each stitch along the edge, I'm going to do a half double crochet. So now that we've finished the orange, it should look something like this. And don't worry, of course, once we block the work, everything will lay flat and be where it should be, if you're concerned about it looking a little wonky at this moment. Now the next thing we need to do is do the black. And so for the black, we are going to do a single crochet, back loop only, in each of these red half double crochets all the way around the heart. And so we're going to begin here and we're going to end here. Remember, single crochet, back loop only. So the next thing I'm going to show you how to do is to make the roses or the flowers for the Sacred Heart of Mary. It's really simple. You'll need to make 6 of these. I'm using pink camo. However, you can use any color you want, or you can simply do the entire thing in a single color, like a black or a white, you know, the whole Sacred Heart, and that would be quite beautiful and classy. But because this is kind of more a tattooy, sort of more illustrative kind of approach to this motif, I'm using color. So I'm going to begin with an adjustable ring. And then I'm going to single crochet 9. I'm going to tighten my ring, not too tight, but we're going to close that circle. And then I'm going to join in that very first single crochet. And then I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to do a treble crochet in the same stitch, in that same single crochet. And then I'm going to do a double treble crochet in the same stitch. Another double treble crochet in that same stitch. And then a treble crochet one more time in that same stitch. And then I'm going to slip stitch in the next single crochet. And then chain 1. And that makes my first petal. And I'm going to do 4 more of these. So treble crochet in the next single crochet. And then 2 double treble crochets, again in that same stitch. And then 1 more treble crochet, also in that same stitch, of course. And then our slip stitch in the next single crochet on the ring and chain 1. And we're going to continue that for 3 more petals. I'll see you right back here in just a moment. So this is basically what your flower is going to look like. Now I've already started crocheting my flowers together. And what I've done is I've started just single crocheting in the back loop only of the petals. And I follow it around to about halfway, and then I connect the next flower and continue going on. So you can see how I'm doing it right here. Now some of these stitches may require that you do 2 single crochets in them just because of the way things turn, but you can decide what that looks like for yourself as you progress. If it just needs the one single crochet, or you feel that on occasion, you know, you might need to throw an extra single crochet in there just to nicely handle a curve. And I try to stagger the flowers a little bit. So I am personally not trying to make them perfectly even across the middle part of the flower, because I want it to have just a little more personality than that. However, if you want to do it evenly across, it's your sacred heart and you just do you. There's not a lot of need to be particularly precise. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out which side of this petal I want to join to. And again, back loop only. And I'm just going to connect it with a single crochet, just continuing on. And for me, as I do this, I choose to weave my ends in on this particular piece as I am crocheting. You might choose to weave it in later. It really depends on your favorite way of handling that. But what I'm going to do now is I am just going to continue to single crochet all the way around this flower. And I'm going to continue on and continue to crochet this black outline, if you will, around each flower, working my way back. Now, when I get back to the opposite end of this chain of, oh, we'll just call them wild roses, I'm going to leave a nice long tail, because that is what I'm going to use to sew my band of roses around my sacred heart. So now your garland of roses should look something like this. And then, of course, once we're ready to, we'll just go ahead and sew this on as we please. So the next thing I'm going to do is show you how to make the thorns around the second sacred heart. I'm going to begin by crocheting 50 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 9, and 50. Now in the second chain from the hook, I'm going to single crochet. And then each of the next 4 chains, I'm going to single crochet in them. So that'll give me a total of 5 single crochets. Just like this. And then in the next chain, I am going to do 1 half double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 treble crochet, all in the same chain. And of course, in that same chain, I'm going to finish that up with a double crochet and then a half double crochet. So you're basically going to have a total of 5 stitches in this one single chain. And that makes my first thorn. And then I'm going to single crochet in each of the next 10 chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So then again, I'm going to do another thorn. And once again, it's going to be a half double crochet, a double crochet, a treble crochet, a double crochet, and then a half double crochet, all in that same chain. And that's my second thorn. And then I'm going to do a single crochet in each of the next 10 chains. And I'm going to continue just that same pattern all the way down to the end. So now when you have this length crocheted, and you can see the thorns. Now, when you do this, I'm just doing a 50 count for the actual example for this tutorial. However, as I mentioned before, you will, in all actuality, need to do a 90 count for your thorns. But otherwise, it's the same. You do your first 4 single crochets, and then you do your thorn, and then you do 10 single crochets, and you do your thorns. And then you do 10 more single crochets and you do a thorn, and you continue that pattern all the way through the whole 90 stitches. This is just a little short because I've already made one, so I don't want to spend too much time or yarn doing it again. Just to show you how to do this. Okay, so now that I've finished my first side, I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to insert my hook into that first single crochet right up to just underneath the top front and top back loops. And what I'm basically doing is single crocheting on the opposite side in each stitch. So I'm going to do another single crochet in each stitch. But I'm inserting my hook all the way up to just underneath the top, front, and back loops. So as you can see, I think you can see that. You can see how I'm doing that. And so when I do 4 counts coming back, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to make a thorn the same way we did before. Half double crochet, and then a double crochet, and then a treble crochet. And then a double crochet. And then one more half double crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet again, 10 single crochets, but inserting my hook right underneath the top, front, and top back loops of the single crochet directly across from where I'm making a new single crochet. And then now when we come to this part where we're just sitting opposite a thorn, and you can kind of see where we've got kind of the open loop at, what I do then is I fit a total of 3 single crochets into this space. So I go ahead and I say, okay, about right there, and that'll be 1. And then I'll do another one like right in the middle, just above the chain stitch there. And then just like another one right towards the last stitch of that thorn. And then I'll continue with like another 4 or 5 single crochets, which will take me about midway between the 2 thorns that are just opposite of this new set of single crochets that I'm doing. Okay, so let's say that's about good right there. And then again, I'll do one more thorn just to show you. So in the next single crochet, but this time we're going to insert the hook just right at the chain. And make a double crochet or a half double crochet, and then a double crochet, and then a treble crochet. And then a double crochet, and then a half double crochet. And then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to single crochet until I hit this next opening where the chain was at in this next thorn. So it's going to be 4 or 5 stitches. And then again, when I hit this, I'm going to do 3 stitches. So I'm going to hit one here at the end, at the beginning, I guess I should have said, of the thorn. And then I'm going to hit a second one right here about in the middle, just above the chain. And then I'm going to do one more just on the opposite end of that thorn. All right, and then I'm going to do my next 4 or 5 single crochets, and then I'm going to start another thorn. So this gives me a staggered thorn appearance. And when you're finished, you will decide kind of how you want yours to sit, and you will just sew it on. So make sure you leave yourself a nice long tail when you've finished creating your thorns. So once your pieces are blocked, this is basically what they look like. Now, as mentioned before, you can use any color for the roses that you care for. You could do the whole thing in a single color, such as maybe an off-white or just a bright bleached white, which gives it a nice, clean, more subtle, classic look, if you will. Or you can certainly pick out, whatever colors works for you with regards to your piece and the project you're working on. There are no limitations. So with all that said, now is the time for me to say goodbye. So until I see all you wonderful and creative fiber artists again, stay crafty, stay amazing, and above all, keep weaving your weird. Bye-bye now. Have a great day.